Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's Wild Walk of Fame episode 5. Can't believe it. I've been doing this 5 weeks now, which seems a bit mad. And we're also a couple of weeks into the summer holidays. How are you doing? How are you doing with the juggle? It's always a bit of a mad one, isn't it? I am 50-50 between loving spending extra time with the kids and not having a schedule versus trying to get lots of other stuff done which needs to get done, like work and the house and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, the juggle is real, isn't it? And so if you, like me, need some things to distract the kids for a while whilst you get some other things done, I just wanted to remind you before we dive into this week's Wild Walk of Fame that I have an absolute mass of material on the website under the Wild Walk of Fame free activity blog, and in there's loads of things like crafts and colouring and things to make and little kind of scavenger hunt type things and puzzles if you've got a puzzle lover at home, and they're all free and you can just download them, print them out at home, and hopefully they'll keep the kids amused for a short time at least. And if you've got no printer, no problem, you can actually buy them. They're just £2 each with free postage, and I can print them off and send them to you so that you can have a whole stack of resources at the ready should you need them to keep your kids amused through the summer holidays, because let's face it, we all need as much help as we can get. So anyway, so that's the Wild Play blog on the website, which you can check out at any time that you want. But today we're obviously here for the Wild Walk of Fame, and we're going to just discover what animal we're going to be talking about this week. And this week it's been chosen by my 7-year-old son, and he got super excited about this one and really wanted to share some facts. And so not only has he chosen the animal, he also wrote me some facts to share with you, so which is what I'm going to share first before I dive into some more in depth. So let's find out who's behind the red curtain. So chosen by my lovely 7-year-old, who's a big animal fan. Always like my little sound effects. Can you see that? It is the okapi. And if you're thinking the whatty, I've never heard of an okapi. Well, here we go. You're going to find out exactly what an okapi is. And we mentioned the okapi in a previous episode all about giraffes. But I think a lot of you had never heard of an okapi and certainly never seen an okapi because they are very rare and elusive. But like I said, this was chosen by my 7-year-old, and he was super passionate about these animals. So, and he wrote me out, I realise this is going to be back front for you guys, but he wrote me out some facts. So I'm just going to read his facts for you, and he might even make a cameo on this week's podcast recording. He said he will, so I'll get him to read them for you. But his okapi facts, according to my 7-year-old, is that they have stripy legs. It's quite hard to hold, isn't it? They have stripy legs. They leave a smelly trail as they walk. Their young have to stay in their nest so that predators don't pick up their scent. They eat charcoal. They have such sensitive ears that they can hear things that we can't. So they were his top facts, and he remembered those in his head. And I think it's through watching things like I've forgotten the name of it now. The one under the sea. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But he basically watches loads of educational stuff. He loves CBBS. He loves animal programs. And so that is basically what he's learned from books and from watching various programs on TV. So anyway, they were his top okapi facts. So we're going to go into a bit more detail about okapis. So if you've never seen one before, this is kind of what they look like. So they're a very, very funny looking creature. They are native to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and they live in the dense rainforests that are there. And as mentioned in a previous episode, they are the only living relative of the giraffe. So they share some genetic features. I guess they have quite similar ears. They have these little kind of horns on their head, and their face is a similar shape to a giraffe. And they have quite long legs, so their legs are quite similar to a giraffe. But apart from that, I guess, kind of like a giraffe and zebra tapir mashup, I would say. So they're a very peculiar looking animal. And like giraffes, they have quite long purplish blue tongues that can reach all the way to their ears and their eyes, which I don't really understand the benefit of that other than maybe to clean them or swat flies away or something like that. But yeah, you could have a good old lick of earwax if you wanted to. And as you can see, they are kind of dark in colour, so they're kind of a blackish brown for most of their fur. They have these white patches on their face, and they have stripes on all 4 of their legs that are a bit like zebra stripes, and these unique markings help them to be camouflaged in the dense rainforest where they obviously need to hide from predators. So all of these markings help them stay safe in the shadows of all the trees and the foliage. And their fur is water repellent. It has lots of special oils in it, which is really helpful because obviously rainforests are a really, really wet and damp environment, and so they need to be able to stay nice and dry, because otherwise it might cause them all sorts of problems. So their fur has these special oils that helps the rain stay out of their skin. Now, as my lovely 7-year-old mentioned, they leave a smelly trail as they go along. So they have scent glands in their feet. So as they walk along, they naturally mark their territory. So they're fairly solitary creatures. They don't tend to live in packs, but they obviously probably want to signal to other okapis that they're in the area. And so this helps them mark their territory. But it also helps them to find their way back to their nests. So they build nests on the ground, so they don't climb or anything like that. They don't go up into the trees like a bird, but they do build a nest on the ground for their young. And so marking a path to and from the nest is obviously helpful to them, so they're not going to get confused and lose their baby in the forest. And again, as my 7-year-old rightly pointed out, is the babies have to stay in the nest for those early months to keep them safe from predators, because otherwise predators might pick up on the scent that they excrete from their feet, and that probably wouldn't be very good news for a baby okapi. So for at least 2 months they're confined to the nest, and their mums go backwards and forwards to gather food for them and keep them safe. So they eat leaves and fruits and berries. They're herbivores. Herbivores means that they have a plant-based diet rather than a meat-based diet, and they'll eat as much as they can find in their local area in the rainforest. It's a perfect environment for a herbivore, because there's a plethora of things available in the environment. And then again, another fact that my son pointed out was that they eat charcoal. Now you might be wondering how on earth an okapi finds charcoal in the rainforest. Well, it'll be from burnt out trees. So if a tree gets struck by lightning, because there's obviously storms that happen, so if there's a fire and the tree burns, there's obviously charcoal left over, and so they'll eat some of the charcoal. Now they do this because they obviously eat all sorts of different plants, berries and fruits, and sometimes they might have a buildup of toxins in their stomach, and charcoal is known to absorb all of that, and so it just helps them to stay on top of any toxin buildup in their bodies by eating the charcoal, and it just really helps absorb any of that and helps them get rid of it. And that's the same for us humans. So you might have seen charcoal tablets in your local pharmacy if you've had a bit of an upset stomach. They can be really, really helpful for doing the same job, where you swallow them and they can absorb any toxins and help your body get rid of them. I've tried them myself, and yeah, they are really helpful for that. And they can make you feel a lot better. So the okapi is all over that by eating charcoal as and when it can find it. And the other thing that they eat in the wild as well is clay. So they'll lick the natural clay deposits that they find in the rainforest. And again, this is to give them any minerals that they're missing in their diet. So between the clay and the charcoal and all the plants and the berries and the fruits, that gives them a rounded diet that keeps them healthy. So yeah, so that's an amazing fact about okapis, that they eat some weird and wonderful things like charcoal. They're a relatively new discovery, the old okapi, when it comes to kind of how long we've known about animals. Most animals we've known about for hundreds of years, but outside of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, they were only discovered in the early 20th century, which was actually in 1901 by Sir Harry Johnston, who was a British explorer, and so he discovered the okapi and came back and told everyone about this very strange creature that he'd found over there. And it's because they are really shy and elusive, so they are very difficult to spot. They're very, very good at hiding. Like I said, their markings help camouflage them really, really well. They're quite solitary creatures. They can move very quietly throughout the rainforest, and so they're not something that's really up in your face and easy to spot. So yeah, so just over 120 years ago they were discovered in the wild. Excuse me. And despite them being quite shy and elusive, they're also very noisy. animals, and they have a really wide range of calls that can be quite loud, and these include kind of whistles and chuffing sounds. And they have an excellent sense of hearing. Again, as my 7-year-old pointed out, they have a brilliant sense of hearing, and they can hear many things that we would never be able to hear. And this helps keep them safe from any predators or anything that's likely to attack them in the rainforest. They can hear them coming, and they can also hear their young from a wide distance. So these big ears really help them to track all of the sounds around them to keep them nice and safe. And they have pretty good eyesight as well, and a very good sense of smell. So they're actually a very clever, well put together animal. They sadly are listed as endangered, but they're also protected under law, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo have done loads of work to help try and protect them and the habitat. So hopefully that work is going to pay off, but it's worth knowing that there aren't many of them left, and that we should be aware that they really need protecting because they are such a beautiful and unusual animal. And just coming round to my final fact, they are really important part of the ecosystem. So this is another reason why we should really work to try and protect them. And that's that they're key seed dispersal animals. And what that means is that they help spread seeds throughout their habitat. Now they do this while obviously they're eating quite a wide range of plants and fruits and berries and things like that. And the seeds are not digestible, so they pass straight through them. So obviously as the okapi, it eats over here, but it might walk over there and do a poo over there, and so out poos the seeds, and it helps the plants to spread their seeds over a much wider area. So they're a really key part of their habitat, and this seed dispersal part of the seed dispersal in the environment. And so so really important. So if we lost the okapi, then obviously a lot of plants would suffer as well. So I quite like that fact, is that the okapi's poo is really important in the rainforest. I did say that was my last fact, but I have one more, but I can't verify if this is true. This just came up in my research, and I've been looking for a video to share with you to prove it, but I haven't come up with anything. So if you find something, let me know, because I'd like to see it. But it said that okapis can move both legs on each side of their body at the same time. So they'd move their front and back leg like that. So kind of like that movement, rather than, I guess, normally they're kind of more like a horse like that. But the okapi can move them like that. Now, like I said, I haven't seen a video of this, so I don't know if it's actually true, but there was a resource on the website, on the internet, that I found that said it's called the okapi trot, and that they can move their front and back legs together on either side of their body. So if you can find a video of that, I would absolutely love to see it. I'll keep looking and see if I can find one. And they can obviously gallop like a normal animal with 4 legs as well. But so that's all of my okapi facts, thanks to myself and my 7-year-old, who chose the okapi for this week and wrote his own facts for me to share with you. They'll be coming to the podcast soon. Hopefully I'm going to get him to read a few for you. But before I go, I always like to share some books with you. And obviously, because the okapi is quite rare, it was quite difficult to find some books. But I found 2 to share with you. And the first one is called Okapi Loves His Zebra Pants, and it's by Terry Tashel and Ivan Sulema. Now, this book is all about how the okapi absolutely loves his stripes, but a chimpanzee starts teasing him about how he's stolen the stripes from a zebra, and so he becomes very shy and a little bit ashamed of his stripes. And I think the story talks him through how he then becomes proud of them again, and that he hasn't stolen them at all. It's just part of what makes him special and unique. And the second book, I don't know if you know the Lion Guard series on Disney Junior. I know some friends watch it quite a lot. But is it Beshta, I think, is one of the characters, but he finds an okapi, but every time he wants to introduce the okapi to the rest of the guard, the okapi is too shy and hides, and so they all think that he's making it up, because if you describe the okapi, they're like, there isn't an animal that looks anything like that. And so I think the story goes through kind of them meeting an okapi for the first time, and maybe helping the okapi feel brave enough to meet the rest of the Lion Guard. So that's 2 books. What I did wonder was whether there was an okapi in the Oi Frog series, and my son looked through every single of the Oi Frog series books, and he tells me that there is no okapi sits on animal on anything. So we thought maybe an okapi could sit on some nappies. But yeah, if you find an okapi in those books, let me know as well. Or if there's any other okapi books that you've enjoyed at home, I would really, really love you to share them so that we can get a wider audience across okapis, so we can get everyone knowing what an okapi is and hopefully join the fight to help save them in their native environment. So yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. The podcast hopefully will be up a little bit later on. I still need to record it. But yeah, that was a celebration of okapis today for the Wild Walk of Fame. You can obviously watch again and yeah, have a listen to the podcast, have a look at the Wild Play blog if you're in need of lots of resources to keep the kids busy this summer holiday. And yeah, please join me next week to see who will be joined into the Wild Walk of Fame. Yeah, thanks for joining me and see you again soon. Bye.